Hey KU fans, welcome back to KU Sports Extra on the road. I promised it earlier, and I delivered. Benton Smith.
In front of the camera?
Right, in front of the camera,
Okay,
no longer behind, in front of the camera.
The people are so excited.
Aren't they?
Clearly.
Are you?
I am.
Okay.
They won't be, probably.
Tell me why you are, and not about yourself. You always talk about yourself. But why are you excited about the Yum Center, about the South Regional semifinal, about Louisville, about Kansas, Maryland? Tell me why you're excited.
Well, I think Kansas, Maryland is probably one of the most entertaining Sweet 16 games we're going to see.
No question.
It's a great matchup. You know, Bill keeps talking about Maryland is capable of playing at a 1-seed level.
True.
And you know they were a top five team earlier in the season. That's kind of where he gets that reference point from. But they also have two super talented players in Melo Trimble and Diamond Stone. Both those guys look like first-round NBA picks for sure. And I mean, it's just going to be fun to see how KU matches up with two guys that are that talented, and that's not even getting into the whole Mark Turgeon storyline. So it's just a cool game to cover, really.
I agree. I thought it was really cool too. Self talked about that at the podium today, about his guys maybe not getting the due in terms of NBA prospect status and that kind of thing that maybe they deserve, partly because there's so many talented players on one team, and partly because they're not top 5, top 10 picks like Trimble and like Diamond Stone. So, but he said, I still like our guys a lot, and I think our guys will be ready, and they might even use that as a little bit of a chip when you're the number 1 overall seed and the number 1 ranked team in the country, and you're 32-4, and you can find a chip. That's incredible, and that's Bill Self to a T. He will find anything he can and use it. Even if he didn't believe that Maryland had been a top 5 team all year, he probably would have said they were. You know, he's just that good at using his mind and getting into the minds of his players to make sure they're ready. Do you think they're ready? I know it's still a ways before game time and tip-off. We spent all day in here on Wednesday inside both locker rooms talking to both coaches. Think Kansas is ready?
I think they're ready. I think they seem the same as they've seemed since the end of January.
Right.
On this winning streak that they're on, nothing has changed really in their approach, at least from what we've seen. Obviously, we don't watch them have real practices.
Sure.
We watch them have fake open practices where
they shoot half-court shots.
And everyone's going at about 30%, that sort of thing. But you can just tell from the way that they're approaching these interviews and just they're loose.
Yeah.
They're loose and they're enjoying themselves, and that's kind of what Self has made the team embrace these past few weeks. And nothing has changed since Des Moines or Kansas City or the regular season.
Right, I agree, and I was really interested in seeing that because for juniors like Selden and Mason and Green and Lucas, those guys, they haven't been this far.
Right.
And so as much as they can say, hey, we're not satisfied or we want more, it's still new for them to be in the Sweet 16 and to play here, and it's human nature to be excited about doing something you've never done. So I wanted to see how they handled it, how they looked, how they reacted, how they sounded, and I agree with you. They sounded exactly like they sounded last week, and that's like a team on a mission. They are absolutely focused on their goals and getting beyond this. In fact, today, and I didn't see this last week, I might not have been paying attention, but I did notice it today when they broke after their huddle following the fake practice. They usually all year break with Big 12 champs.
Right.
And obviously that's worked very well for a number of years now. But today they broke with national champs. And that tells it all right there. That's their goal. Tell me about this matchup. You already talked about the talent on both sides. What's probably the most key thing, 1 or 2 key things for both teams if they want to win this game, especially for Kansas? Start there.
Well, I think the interesting thing about this matchup is that Maryland is so big at every position. Like, Melo Trimble is the smallest guy that they play in their rotation, and he's bigger than Frank Mason and Devontae Grant. Right. Everybody else is generally 6'7" and up.
Right.
So I think it's just interesting to see how KU matches up with that. Obviously, Wayne Selden's going to be guarding someone bigger than him, at least taller than him. He might.
But for Layden is that his name? That's what it sounded like Selden was going to be on.
Layman,
Layman, there you go. It sounded like he was talking about that a little bit in the locker room, and he said he thinks that's the guy he'll be on first, which brings you to Trimble, who gets the first crack at him. I would imagine Graham and Mason will probably both get turns.
Yeah, and Bill Self talked a little bit today about how it's going to be a really exciting matchup to watch Frank Mason and Melo Trimble go back and forth. So
there you go.
At least on KU side of things, it kind of sounds like it's going to be Mason
on
trying to guard Trimble.
Yeah.
And
Vice versa?
you might, vice versa. You might have to adapt. You might have to change things depending on how it goes.
Right. That's the thing I think is most interesting about this. I think if one or the other of these teams has the luxury of adjusting and trying to figure out different things, it's obviously the deeper Kansas team. I mean, they've shown they can play different styles. They've shown they're comfortable doing all kinds of things, different lineups, quick, small, big, in transition, half court. They've really shown everything this year, and so I think that's one area that they benefit big time. The bottom line for me is that if they can continue to control things on the glass, and if that looks right at Landon Lucas, if he continues to rebound like he has and is able to keep Maryland's bigger bodies off the offensive glass, I think Kansas has a real good chance to win this game and maybe control it from start to finish and do it with relative ease, because I think that allows that one of Maryland's biggest strengths, potential advantages, to be taken off the board, and that's size and pounding the glass. And all of a sudden then you've got guards against guards, and I just don't think anybody's deeper or more talented than KU in the backcourt. Those guys are all so good and in such attack mode that I think if Lucas and obviously Ellis has to show up, and Traylor and whoever else is in there too, if those guys can control the boards, I think the guards win this game for Kansas. And that'll be a very interesting thing to see. Let's go there. Who wins? What are you thinking? Have you had time to crystal ball this thing and figure it out?
I've been kind of processing it at points during the day.
Hard to watch.
I know. I'm just constantly just
smoke.
Like, oh, yeah.
That's Keegan. Sorry.
Oh, whoops, wrong guy. But yeah, I think KU's gonna win, but I think this is by far the toughest game that they've played in the NCAA tournament.
Sure.
UConn was, a nice little test for the second round, but I mean, if you win here, you really have earned something significant, because Maryland is a super talented team, and I think it's going to be tight. I don't think we're going to see KU win by double digits or anything like that, but I think Kansas has the veterans. I think Lucas, who you just talked about, is going to be crucial.
Right.
Great timing for KU in that, Lucas versus Diamond Stone. Diamond Stone's going to make a lot more money playing basketball
a lot more
than Landon Lucas will, but Diamond Stone's just a freshman, and Landon Lucas is a junior, and they're both kind of those big-bodied guys, and we've seen how well Lucas handles those type of matchups. I think that's going to be a key.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. I'm also picking Kansas, and it's funny, I think you mentioned it. I mean, I think that even if Kansas goes on to play Miami or Villanova, this could end up being the toughest game, even tougher than that in the Elite Eight if that happens. So, I think you're right on the money there, and I said it last week before the UConn game that it would be a game where KU won each quarter or so by 3 or 4 points, and then at the end you saw that it's a 10, 12-point KU win.
God, you were totally wrong on that.
I missed that. They got up by 24 early and then kind of held on or cruised or whatever you want to call it in that second half. I think I was a game early, because I think that's what I see here tomorrow night. I think you see KU just win little chunks at a time and not overwhelm Maryland by any means, but control things. And again, if you win 5-minute spurts by 2 or 3 points, by the end of the thing, you're going to be in pretty good shape. And I do think Kansas can win this thing by double digits. I don't know that they will, but I think they can. And I think that as long as foul trouble with Lucas doesn't become an issue, then I think Kansas wins, in the 8 to 12 range for sure. So, any more final thoughts from the Yum Center? I mean, Bill Self's been excited to get here. You've been excited to get here. What do you think?
I think at least 3 times in the past week, Bill Self has said that he's either excited to see the Yum Center or excited to be at the Yum Center. I'm excited to see if Landon Lucas does get in foul trouble, who handles Diamond Stone.
Right.
Carlton Bragg is kind of slight at this point. Will we actually see Sheck Diallo play some meaningful minutes and match up with Diamond Stone? I think he's up to the challenge.
Yeah.
That'd be really entertaining to see.
It would be a couple of future pros, no doubt about it. I tweeted this, and I think there is still a game out there for Diallo to have an impact, and maybe it is this one. The guy continues to work hard. You can see him out there. You said everybody's going 30%. I swear he's going 100%. He's taking full advantage of those moments, and I think that tells you who he is and where he's at.
Sure.
This is a guy that's still trying to get better as a basketball player. He hasn't been through this, and every time he can get on the court, he takes that to heart, and he really wants to improve, even in a 30-minute made-for-TV, ho-hum, laugh-it-off type of practice at the NCAA tournament. So very cool. That is something to watch. If they don't need him, they won't need him.
Right.
But if they do, it could be a big game for him. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the Miami-Villanova game before it should be also pretty entertaining. A couple of really good teams there. And then KU will tip off at around 8:40, probably closer to 9 o'clock here in the Yum Center. We will be here as early as possible, and we'll have all your coverage from the game, before, during, and after, analysis, all that stuff. And we'll see if this KU team can keep their run going, or if it ends here in the Yum Center where everybody's been dying to get. For Benton Smith, in front of the camera, I'm Matt Tait. Thanks for checking out KU Sports Extra on the road. And we'll talk to you guys from game day.